everyone. I just wrapped up a chatting stream. I have broken out my chatting and my writing sprint so that the folks who want to chat and interact more, we can all meet at the new Perty Nerdy After Hours podcast? Question mark, because I don't yet have that set up. I do plan to post them as podcasts. But for now, they're just going to sit in my little Twitch stream. We're going to do all our chatting there. I have segments built out. If you missed that stream earlier, my segments are, let me go back over here to my outline. What's lighting my bulb? Essentially, things that make me go, interesting news, weird internet rabbit holes, observations, strange historical facts. My new favorite thing. Anything that is lighting my bulb in the moment, I'm probably going to cover and talk about and ask what yours, what's lighting your bulb. And that's going to be my first segment. I'm off to a good start, folks. I've already been talking for probably about an hour and a half in that stream. So now I am ready to get to work. Prior to this, if you've been on any of my writing sprints, I did about 30 minutes of chat and then went into my writing sprints with chat in between. And I was finding a few things. One, the folks who were there to work probably didn't want all that chatting. And the people who were there to chat probably didn't have as much fun when it was time for me to do my sprints. So I thought, let's just break that out into two separate shows, two different things. So all the chatting happened over there, and now I'm going to work. So we talked about what's lighting my bulb. And I'm just going to recap here in case you want to see if that stream is something that you're interested in. I did talk for quite a bit about this article that I found on LinkedIn about I don't want to say advent, but the introduction of smart tables. Essentially, they will be that person who teaches you how to play a game, as opposed to you buying a big box board game and feeling completely intimidated learning how to play because of this giant rule book and all the million pieces that are involved. Instead, it's comparison to like starting a video game where I don't know anybody. I really don't think I know anybody who sits down before they start a video game and tries to find a manual on how to play before they play. No. Video games are built so that you can just turn it on, and either there's a tutorial in the beginning, or you just learn and die and then get reborn somewhere else in the game, and then you just learn as you go, and people have fun that way. But for some reason, that logic cannot be applied to learning how to play a new board game. And so that article I found very interesting. So we talked about that. That's what was lighting my bulb. And then I had a segment called State of the Nerd. That is my housekeeping, updates, progress reports. There was a lot of chatter about a video I put out where I said water is gross, and the reactions that I got from that video, it was very interesting. Feel free to find that video. The said reactions that we were discussing were on YouTube. I had very different reactions depending on the platform they were engaging with. Let's see. We talked about a tree falling on my house. I shared pictures there. I'm not going to do that here. Here, I'm just kind of giving you a little summary of what that show is like. I talked about internet outages and that I needed to work out of a Starbucks, which between the tree falling on my house and the internet outages, my progress this last week is lacking. So thus the reformation of these two shows so that now today I can get a lot done. I'm going to get focused here very quickly. We talked about MagmaCon coming up, get your tickets, and this sandbox game idea I have for the TTRPG cruise. I'm going to be running a high seas adventure, which I helped contribute to Paizo's Lost Domain's High Seas. And so I'm going to run that adventure on the high seas. And now also I'm going to do this interesting sandbox game with like literal sandbox sand. I haven't had enough coffee today, folks. All right. And then I had a segment called Ad Hoc Hui, which just gives me so much joy to say. Essentially, it is a collaborative world building section where we just kind of start throwing out like settings. And from that, we came up with this really cool world that you can totally steal for your book, your story, your game. It was a world starting out like Waterworld, but it's now starting to completely freeze over. There is a frozen crust with a world of water underneath, and there is now this industry of people who are constantly having to melt the ice to keep it from closing up like the entire crust. We came up with evil plankton hordes, and we came up with this big giant like underwater Cthulhu mythos and magic that involves ice bullets and Minecraft blocks in the air that now become weapons of mass destruction. Like, it was wild. It was a lot of fun. So then we had a community topic. I shared a YouTube channel that I'm currently obsessing over, and I would love to hear what your YouTube or Twitch or whatever platform you like to watch your videos on, like, what is your current channel obsession, and why are you obsessing over it? For me, it is that I found this channel called Hidden Rabbits because I am kind of going through a season in my life where the things that I have experienced in my lifetime, but when I think about them now, I can't really recall all the details of like what led to that event happening or what was the full impact of that event. I'm finding this curiosity in me to go back and learn about them because in the moment, I'll just use the example that happened in my stream. NaNoWriMo fell apart. I remember being there when it fell apart. I remember the reasons why, but I don't think I ever really learned the depth of it until I found this channel, Hidden Rabbits. And it is a boyfriend and girlfriend team podcast. She is very journalistic in her approach to researching these events and how she presents the timeline and the facts. It is fascinating. She is also a little spicy, which I really like. And then her essentially the show is called Girlfriend Explain, and it's something that he has found some interest in, something that has happened recently or something in pop culture, and she will go down the rabbit hole of exploration and then literally break down everything from just from the inception of the thing that happened to the complete fallout. And it is fascinating. It is. I'm obsessed. So community topic was, what's your current channel obsession? And that was mine. And then I wrapped up. So man, that was an hour and a half, I think, of chatting. And now I'm ready to get to work. So I am going to get ready to start my sprint. And I'm going to, let's see her. Let me see her real quick. If I have music, I have music. I don't think you hear music, but I have music, I think. Oh, this is fascinating, folks. Where's the volume on this? Here we go. All right, let me go to my writing sprint. All right, I have a little writing prompt at the top for you. If you are looking for something to work on, you need some inspiration, it is there for you. You may not be able to hear music. Let me see. Oh yeah, here we go. Whoa. You may be able to hear music. You may not be able to hear music. I don't know that I have anyone on the stream at the moment who can tell me, but last time I had my music on, it was a little loud. So I hope I fixed that. And I'm going to get my timer started. We're going to do some focus, and I will see you at the end. I will be in and out of chat, so if you're here and you see that I'm in focus time, I will pop in and out of the chat to respond. Here we go. right. Let's move. Oh, let's stop that. How do I stop it? There we go. This isn't what I wanted. This is what I wanted. All right, let me start the timer on my short break so I don't run long this time. I realized moments after I started the sprint that I didn't even talk about what I'm working on right now. I was so focused on just catching everyone up on what just happened, and my streams are different now, and ugh. Anyway, um, boy. So last week when I have a lot of plans. I have a lot of plans. I have some deadlines coming up. I'm starting to feel the pinch, and there there was that tree that fell on my house and the internet outage, and I also had 2 certification courses to run, and I am finding that I have been so drained lately. And I know why this is. And I'm going to get on like a topic that I'm going to want to talk a lot about, and I can't. But if you ever are ever curious about Working Genius, and I haven't talked to you about Working Genius yet, my tongue is dry. If I haven't talked to you about Working Genius yet, and you're curious, or you just need me to like kill like an hour so that you can go to sleep, I will talk your ear off about it. All that to say that I've basically been working in my frustrations lately. I have identified this. I'm aware of it. I know it. And so when I'm working in my frustrations, this is all Working Genius language that I'm using right now. I can feel how draining it is. So if you've ever experienced that thing where, I mean, you've just put in hours or reps or whatever it is that you're doing, and you just, that well is tapped and there's no more, whatever it is, whether it's cleaning the house or, doing your finances and your bills, or mowing the lawn, or your day job. I don't know. Whether it's having meetings. Some people get really drained. If you're like an introvert, you get really drained by like so many meetings. That's all this forced socialization, So for me, what I've identified for myself is invention is my genius. So whenever I get to create anything, whether it's getting to be creative with the decorations in my house because we're going to have people over for prom, and things like that. That's fun. That's creative. I get to dig in and it's energizing. Almost anything else that is not creating is a frustration for me, or I don't want to say that's using the wrong language, but my invention is so way high up here that when I get to use it, it fills my bucket so quickly. But anything else, it's like way down here. And so when I do those things, I can feel myself just be drained. And so by the end of the day, when I'm done doing those things that I have to do that are not creative, and I get a moment to create, the well is dry. The well is dry. So this last week has been a little hard to get those things done that I had planned to get done. And I've had to push off a lot of things. Most of the things that I've pushed off are all stuff that I've added to my own list to like what I call business development, or like, let's upgrade my Twitch stream, which I wouldn't say that's necessarily draining, but it is on the back burner because I at least have a stream. I at least have something that's working and it's going. Do I have time to improve it right now? Do I have time to add the things to my stream that I want to add? Not right now. So I have all these ideas. I'm putting all those things on the back burner because I got to do the things that I got to get done. Wow. I'm a writer, and this is how drained I am, folks. Like, my brain is, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, anyway, I'm in survival mode right now, folks. I am in survival mode. I have people coming over to my house. What's today? Is today Friday? Oh my God. I have people coming to my house tomorrow, and my house is not clean. We've had um, renovations happening, and then sorry, not graduation, renovations, my son's birthday, his final concert, people coming from out of state. It's mayhem. And then they left, and I was like, great, I can put my house in order. But so that is taking time. I'm having to put my all the things back in where they belong in my kitchen. We still have other projects for my kitchen that we are trying to find time to work on. I still have to clean the house. And now we have prom this weekend. I have people coming over. I got to decorate the house. I promised I would make some like social hour food and things. So I got to figure that out. After this weekend, I have people coming in for my son's graduation. So I had flights that I had to arrange and hotels and all these things to align everyone's schedule so that we're all doing the things that we need to do to celebrate my son's graduation, which is also on my birthday. And now I am not the kind of person, like there are people, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but there are people I know who will take vacation on their birthday. They just don't want to work on their birthday. My husband's like that. And I totally understand why people do it. I have never really taken time off for me, except for a few certain occasions that I can think of. My birthday is my birthday, and it doesn't really feel like a different day. I'm happy if people want to celebrate it. I do want to celebrate it, but I also don't necessarily want to be the person to plan it, because then that feels like work. So unless someone's planning my birthday, I don't care. It can pass. It's a work day, whatever. But with everything going on with graduation, there is right now a part of me that is like screaming inside to like celebrate your birthday, girl, because you're going to have to deal with all of the things. My birthday is the same day as my son's graduation. I will have to pick up people from the airport that day. I will have to make sure people get to where they need to be before graduation that day. And then we go to graduation that night. It's going to be a late night. And guess what? The next day, we're doing a big old celebration. So I have to make sure food's ready, all these things. And then the day after that, I take people back to the airport. There's no time to celebrate my birthday. And while normally I wouldn't care, I think because I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe I need to spend some time looking internally, but there's a part of me that's just like, what are you doing? You have not even carved out any time for yourself. So yeah, I'm a little bit in survival mode. Ooh, but I am just gonna make things work. I'm gonna make it work. That's what I do. And then when there's time, actually, I only have 2 minutes before I should get back to work. So maybe I'll talk about it at the next break. But there is a show that me and my husband are going to go to in Lake Tahoe right before everyone shows up. And I think that'll be a good moment, a good couple days where I might not write or do anything and just enjoy going to Lake Tahoe. We're going to go see, we're going to see Pink Floyd's spectacular laser light show, something like that. It's like a Pink Floyd concert light show. I don't know. My husband was very excited about it. And when he gets like childlike excitement, it's very rare. And so I immediately bought tickets, and so we're going. So very excited that at least I have that built in time. Yeah. Survival mode is wow. Okay, encouragement of the day. I did this for my last stream, but I'm telling you, you need to find time. And now that I know don't like do as I do, not as I say, do as I say, not as I do, whatever. I'm telling you right now, I talked out my whole just next 2 weeks. And I was going to say, I'm going to carve out some time, but I do have time. I do have the time. And I'm telling you right now, I am not going to write that weekend that we are going to see this show. It's going to hurt, because when I have free time, that's literally what I want to do, because it's good and it fills my bucket and it makes me feel good to write. but I think I just need a breather. So that's my encouragement of the day. No matter how you can find it, no matter how you can find it, whatever is going to give you a moment to breathe in your survival mode, let's find it, okay? That could be a cup of tea for 15 quiet, glorious minutes, or I don't know. Well, let's talk it out. We could give me your struggles. I will try to find. I'll carve you some time. Let's see. I need to write. I hit a major slump, so all of my energy has been devoted to getting my groove back. All right. I'm going to tell you something now. Okay. I haven't talked a lot about Working Genius here, so I might have to do it in the next chat because it's time to focus. But I'm going to drop a link. It's $25 to take the assessment. I'm associated with them in the sense that that's my day job, but like I don't get anything from this. It's not like it's a commission or that it's a paid advertisement. I'm just a big believer in this assessment because it's all about the work you do that gives you joy. And so I'll talk about it more in the next chat if you're here, and if not, check back into the VOD later. But if you need to find your energy to get your groove back, I think Working Genius is it. So I'll talk to you about that at the next break. All right. I went from 5 to 10K words per day to nothing. Oh, okay. All right. Listen up. Okay. There's guilt associated with when you maybe performed at a certain level and are not performing at that level right now. You're going to feel some guilt about well, I could do it before. Why can't I do it now? Sorry, I'm extending this chat for this very important message, all right? I also felt that. I had hormones, okay? I'm at that age. I may not look it, but I'm at that age. And there was a good couple of years. I'm the kind of person, when I have a setback, I just spring back. I just get back on that horse and I just spring back and I make it happen. I've always been like that. Or I will fake it until I make it. And usually that will get me back on that horse. But I had a couple years, especially when hormones were happening because I'm this age, and I couldn't get back on the horse. The horse was gone and it had dragged me with it, and I couldn't even get back up on my feet. It was so hard. And you have to let go of the guilt when something like that happens that is out of your control, that causes you to not perform in a way that you are used to performing. And especially in the situation that you might be in, that can be very hard because things will come in waves. Things will not be in your control of, I need to compartmentalize and put that aside. So, yeah. So just know that there are ways to get back on that horse. And that's okay. If sprints aren't working for you anymore, you can try other things. I'm going to suggest one more thing. I talk about it all the time, but just in case you're new here, I think you are new here. In your downtime, if you don't already listen to the Writing Excuses podcast, listen to them. And I feel like through osmosis, this is what happens for me. Through osmosis, I learn the different processes that these writers have, and then I give them all a try. I've talked about this before on my stream. And even if I think something isn't going to work for me, I give it a try. And it's so funny. I have found the things that it's almost like I nix it before I even try it. So that's why I just try all the things that they talk about now. And I have found so many processes for myself that I never thought would work that actually work. So I would encourage you to check out that podcast in your downtime to help you find ways that might get you back on that horse. Because it might not be writing. It could be. It could still be writing sprints, but maybe you need something else, something different, something that'll kind of shock your brain into working a different way. So that is my advice for right now. I have to get back to writing, so we're going to start another sprint. And then after that, if you are still here, and maybe if you're not, I'm going to talk about Working Genius for a bit at the next chat, because I am actually going to be, I plan on giving a talk about Working Genius and the creative and productivity at a future convention. And so this will be like my inaugural presentation of it. Unplanned. All right. Time to work. We're going to do 50 minutes. It's a bit of a long haul, but this is going to be the last sprint for this stream. And then I'll do a little bit of chatting, and then I got to log off and clean my house before prom people descend. All right. Let's focus. I'll be in and out of the chat, though. Look down. All right. Oh boy, caught me mid thought. Let's get back to here. All right. And set a timer that I probably won't listen to. I'm horrible, but I just, maybe that's not horrible. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't call myself horrible. If I'm on a roll, folks, if I'm talking to someone and I think that it's important, I'm not just going to drop it mid-sentence because the timer is up. All right. I think I got distracted again at the beginning of the last break when I said, "Hey, I didn't tell anybody what I was working on." And then I think I moved on to something else. So during today's sprints, what I have been working on is an article coming from it's an advice column coming from the perspective of a character that I have created for the world of Fantastical Geographic. I haven't done much talking about this yet because I'm fairly new to this collaborative project, but I did want to mention it. You may have seen some things on my little looping reel of info on my page. Fantastical Geographic, as I understand it, is going to be a monthly zine. I don't know that people have actually agreed on the proper pronunciation for that word. That will provide insights into either a particular location. Everything is kind of system agnostic. It kind of mimics, I would think, something like a National Geographic, but so much more. And there are also packs that come along with the zine. I think it's zine. For me, it's zine. That you can use like maps and artwork and all kinds of things. So go check out Fantastical Geographic. What I will be doing for Fantastical Geographic is I am going to be writing a monthly advice column from a character I have created based off of my grandmother. Her name is Mama Junie. It was originally Mama June until someone pointed out that there is a Mama June out there, and if anybody in my audience has watched Honey Boo Boo, they might associate my Mama June with that Mama June, which they are, I would hope, completely different. So anyway, I am writing articles in that voice of my grandmother, who essentially gave really great advice and also really unconventional advice. So sometimes, most times, the advice is comedic because it can't really be applied that way. And yet there is some truth to what she says, and wisdom, because she is the mother to everyone. She has had a million kids and just is the mom to everyone. So I've been having some fun writing articles in her voice, trying to put myself in her head, trying to think how she would respond to something, because she was a character. Anyway, so look forward to that. Look forward to more details. I have been meaning to do some shares on my socials about it and just haven't gotten around to it yet because life is chaos. All right. So I said at the end of last break, I was going to be talking about Working Genius. Here is my unscripted, very shortened version for those of you who want to learn more about it, because it has helped me immensely. I try to talk about it and pitch it to people as often as I can because it has done me a world of difference. And I see the potential for it to help so many people. I truly, truly, truly believe in it, and I truly do not make any money off of it. So, all right. Working Genius. If you go to workinggenius.com, it is an assessment, sort of like if you've taken MBTI, which is the Myers-Briggs. That's like a personality assessment. Tells you if you're introverted, extroverted, where you get energy, all those things. It is like that, but not. All right. It is so much more. I would say if you're going to compare it to a personality assessment, I think the selling, not logo, what's the word? The selling motto that they give it is that it is 20% personality test, 80% productivity tool. So The thought behind this assessment is that there are 6 types of working genius. There is wonder, invention, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. It spells widget. That's the easiest way to remember it. Now, wonder are the people who question things. They constantly they are, boy, man, how am I going to do this in 10 minutes? They ask a lot of questions. Inventors always be inventing. Creative people. Where am I at? D. WID. D, discerners. They are people who kind of have a good gut instinct about things and can kind of pick apart and really drill down into whether something's going to work or not work. Galvanizers. Galvanizers are the people who really they know how to find the right people to mobilize the troops, to get a project going. They, for lack of a better word, are the cheerleaders of this is the thing that everybody should be working on, and I'm going to tell you why, and now we're going to do it. And they get people going. Enablers, while everybody has a negative connotation to the word enablement, these people actually find joy in just finding ways they can help. How can I help? So if we're talking about galvanizers who are like, hey, we need people to get this going, let's mobilize people. The enablers are like, what? That's a great idea. I want to be a part of that great project. So they will find ways to help. And then there's the tenacity folks. They're the type A planners. They like checklists. They like the fine details. They like to take things over the finish line. All right, so everybody is a 6-letter person, but there is a ranking to how you approach projects, how you approach work, how you approach just about everything. So the important thing about the assessment is it's not telling you that you are so good. Like for me, I am definitely an I in my genius, right? I'm so good at inventing. Like I have such a top score. That's not it. What it's saying is that invention is at the top of these 6 geniuses. If I'm going to put them in an order, invention is at the top. And that means that when I approach any project, I will naturally go towards my geniuses and try to approach it from that perspective. So for me, that's creativity. So if I hear in a meeting, well, we have this problem, well, then my brain starts going, oh, how I'm going to start coming up with ideas to fix that problem. I'm going to be the problem solver, and I'm going to fix this problem with a very creative solution. Or it could be, we're having people over for prom. How do I decorate this place? And it's creative, and I get to have fun inventing what this space is going to look like and how we're going to interact with each other. Writing obviously feeds into that. All right, so enough about me. Essentially, when you're working in your geniuses, you usually have 2 at the top, 2 in the middle, 2 at the bottom. When you're working in your geniuses, time flies by. You could do it for 12 hours and not feel drained. You gain energy by doing it. Whereas your bottom 2, your frustrations, remember, this isn't about how good you are at doing it. Everyone is a 6-letter person. You can do those things. It just means that when you do them, you are drained by it. It is an effort to do them because they are not your geniuses. They take a little more effort out of your brain, so they drain you. All right. So why take this assessment? On a personal level, right? I took this assessment. First of all, I took it with the wrong frame of mind. So if someone's listening to me talk about it right now, I want you to understand that if you are going to take this assessment, which costs $25, you need to take it with the right frame of mind. And what I mean by that is, all my life, I worked before I became a creative. All my life I was working. I got a degree in accounting. I worked in accounting, and then from there went to IT. Those jobs are not they don't usually allow for a lot of creativity. However, I thought that I loved my job. I felt truly that I loved my job and I was going to do it forever. I was in that sector for 14 years and then I got laid off. And I was very shocked when I took that assessment because I was thinking well, I'm very good at these things. So I must, and I enjoyed my job, so I must enjoy doing this. It must give me joy. It wasn't until I started learning more about Working Genius and really thinking about what is actually giving me joy. It wasn't the work. It wasn't the accounting. It wasn't like, for me, when I worked in IT, the joy was with coding. I get to create the code that does the thing. And most times, if you have any experience with coding, there isn't just one answer. There's a lot of like, coding backdoors, if you will, to like, now I'm going to make this thing do this. And that will make the end result that I really, really want. So that was what was fun for me. That was the creative piece. The job itself wasn't giving me joy. I was getting compliments for doing a good job. And so I just continued to do that job and thought that I enjoyed it, right? I enjoyed getting the compliments and I enjoyed finding the creative aspects of the job. So when I took that assessment the first time, I took it with the wrong frame of mind and it identified me as a TE. And then you read the report and I'm like, I don't know, that just doesn't sound like me. So if you take the assessment and it doesn't necessarily resonate, just maybe take some time to really reflect, because what the assessment is about is what gives you joy, what energizes you, because the end result here now, why you want to take the assessment, is that once you identify those things, if you are in a job that you obviously like, if I had taken that assessment when I was in IT, would I have been like, well, time to change careers? Like, I better go into the creative field. Is that a realistic approach? No, I don't think everybody can just up and change their career. I happened to be laid off, and so I was able to start steering my career into more creative things. But you can find the things that are your genius. You can find ways to incorporate those in the job you have. And so you can start making your job a job that you enjoy more, that is more energizing, less draining. Creative accounting is just a crime. I actually use that term a lot in my own life because, when you have like a few different accounts for different things, it's like, well, I'm going to have to move money here to pay for this, but then I'll move that money back here. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't say that. These are my personal accounts, not business things. All right. So, back to why. So, I took this assessment, took it wrong. I realized, here's the thing too. So, the company that does Working Genius, I work for them as my day job. All right. So because of that, there are other people that knew the model well, that knew me well. And so we were able to talk and they were like, gosh, Amber, I just feel like all your life you have been so creative. And you find ways. Here's the thing that I realized. If I look back at my life, I have always been creative. I was taking writing classes as a kid. I would run the most elaborate birthday parties for my kids when they were little, like just because it would give me something to do, an outlet for creativity, because I didn't have that in my job. So, once I took the assessment, I identified and was able to read the results and go, this is really me. Now I have some things to look back in my past that make some sense. All right. Let's talk about, I didn't even start the timer, so I don't even know how long I'm going to run on, but here we go. I might have to do this talk again in my chatting stream. So, all right, let me, shortened version. I'm going to start the timer at least now. I'm a little late starting, but I'm going to start this timer so I don't run too long. All right. If you think about any project, any process, any major corporation, I guess just apply it to a thing, all right? It usually starts with someone asking a question. I'm going to use IBM for an example. What if we can put computers in everybody's home? What if there was a machine that could do blah, 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 blah? I don't know. Whatever the question was, there's a question. And that then prompts the inventor or someone to go, that's an interesting question. I think I have an idea for that. And they start throwing out ideas, all right? I think we can create this machine that does this thing, and that answers the question, right? Then there's the discerners who go, Great idea, but oh, that's going to be so expensive. Or we need these kinds of materials to be able to put that together. Can we pull? So they're the person, the discerner is going to be able to punch holes. I hate using that phrase, but they will help refine the idea. All right. Then this could loop for a while, right? Until they refine, refine, refine. At some point at the D line, that's when the decision is made. And then now we're moving to implementation. So then they go to the galvanizers, or the galvanizers say, whoa, you have this really cool product that we can put in everybody's house and it's a computer. That's amazing. We need to get it out to people. Here's how we do it. I know the right people. Here we go. And so they start mobilizing the troops, right? Then we have the enablers who are like, hey, I want to be a part of that. I know how to do that. Marketing or, whatever. I know how to tell people about this awesome product. Let's go. All right. Then we have the tenacity folks who are like, okay, we need to get this to the finish line. We're going to post on, well, social media wasn't a thing back in the day, but they're the ones taking it to the finish line, getting it in people's houses, start to finish, that whole process. All right. That's looking at a large scale. If you look at it from a personal level, which I did, I applied it to myself. My results were in IT. And as soon as I saw that, it made so much sense to me why in my writing, first of all, I have a million ideas, right? And I think writers struggle with this in general, trying to finish the project because the next shiny idea comes along, and ideas are fun because we are inventors, because we are writers. I will guarantee a majority of writers, if they took this assessment, would be I. And so we want to stay in our genius. It's fun. We get all these new ideas. So unless you have T, which here's the thing is why am I struggling to say it? Identified as an IT. I identify as an IT. Then if you don't have that T, it might be hard to bring things to the finish line, right? Now, I do actually struggle with bringing things to the finish line, but that's also because I have D as my third. And so what ends up happening is before I'm just about to implement something, and then I start poking holes in my own thing. So this has, just identifying those top three has almost it's removed the blinders of what's actually happening. It's identified, it's bringing it to the forefront and showing me this is my process. I have an idea. I immediately put it into implementation without discerning it. Sometimes I won't discern the idea. I go straight I and then T because those are my top two. I'll write the thing and then I go, oh my God, there's so many errors and what was I thinking there? And I didn't even fully think through this thing. And now I got to rewrite the whole thing. And it's annoying. All right. So I've started tapping into my husband hasn't taken this assessment, but I know because we've been together, over 20 years, that he definitely has a strong discernment. If I were going to identify him, he would be a WD. He asks a lot of questions and he discerns a lot. So when I have an idea now, I have to pause, take a moment, breathe, and go, okay, let me loop my husband in. And he will very easily go, that's a great idea for a story, but, and start kind of poking these little holes that, it deflates a little bit of my fun, but it's so necessary. If you're going to take a product, whatever that product is, from start to finish and have it be successful, you need to implement all those letters. You need to. So I now incorporate him into my idea process before I start bringing things to implementation so that there's less errors to fix. It's a more refined product, if you will. And so it has helped my productivity a lot. It also identifies for me so that when I'm having heavily drained days, it kind of releases that guilt of why am I not able to create today? Because it was a very heavy, for me, I think my frustrations, it's identified as a GW, but again, it's very weird for me. Like questions, it makes sense for me for questions. I like people to ask the question and then it gives me an idea and I want to write. I don't like asking the question first because I feel like my questions are not important questions. So I don't like my own story ideas unless I can hear a question out in the world somewhere that sparks something, right? Or I see something on the interwebs that goes, oh, that's an idea, right? Then I get the idea and I go. But the question is hard for me. It's draining. The other thing is, what did I say? It was WG, galvanizing, which is so weird because I feel like I like to shout out all my friends. And I don't know if maybe I don't understand galvanizing as well as I would like, because I think I do that already. So there's a part of me that's like, again, going back to, it's not about how well you do them. It's not like it's a score, it's a rank. So I can probably galvanize well. And I like to shout out my friends and I like to cheerlead and I like to connect people. So if someone says, I'm working on this project, but man, art is so hard. And I'll go, hey, I know 5 different artists right now that I can point your way and I will connect them. And I don't think that's draining for me, but there is a possibility that it is. So that's something that I'm still kind of learning about myself. And it could be that maybe I just need to, again, now that I'm learning more about the model, it's all about self-awareness, right? You're self-identifying yourself when you take this assessment. You're self-identifying what gives you joy and what drains you. So the more you learn about the model, the better understanding you have of, you start thinking about and looking within, the better understanding you have of what's actually giving you joy. I thought I liked IT. I really did, until I looked at it from a different lens and went, it's not the work I love, So with galvanizing, it could be a thing that maybe, I don't know, I do it and maybe I'm good at it, but maybe it is not as energizing, of course, as all the other things. So all that to say, you take this assessment, look inwards, and start thinking about, how does this apply to me? And now that I have this language and this understanding, how can I use that to make my processes better? All right. It's not about, oh, well, questions, that's my weakness, I should get better at that. That's like saying to an introvert, hey, you should just get better at getting energy when you're around people. Can you do that? Like, can you work on that? You don't say that. So it's not about, well, these things are draining, let's see how we can make them energizing. It's not that. It's about, what do you find that's energizing? And let's learn how to tap into those things to make everything better. Everything. Your job, your personal life. Like me and my husband, we have a language now so that, like, he likes to be in wonder and he likes to think about, like, daydream. He likes to daydream about this or that. And for me, that is a frustration. And I used to think that when he was asking a question that I needed to get on it and enact it. That's my T, right? He'd ask a question and I'd go, oh, he's asking about kitchen remodel stuff. That must mean that we need to do a kitchen remodel. I guess I'll get on that, And really, that wasn't what he wanted. All he wanted was for someone to be with him and go, yeah, the kitchen would look so good if we did this. What if we did this? Oh my gosh, what if we did this? And he never would actually mean for it to be enacted. He just wants someone to ask questions with. So now that I understand that, and he understands that, we have this language. So it makes our marriage better. It makes my work better. It makes my own personal processes better. It makes, when I work with people, like, they may not understand the model, but I understand. If I know them well enough, I might be able to, like, identify where they're at, so I know how to approach projects with them. So all that to say, Working Genius, that was my very unscripted, unplanned. I'm going to talk about it at a future convention with, like, writers, because I think it could help. I feel like it's helped me. I need to probably find a better way to educate isn't the right word. I need to find a better way to lay it out in such a non, oh boy, my writer brain's going out the window. In a less chaotic fashion. Let's just say that. I need to find a way to bring this to writers in a way that is less chaotic and lay it out so it makes sense for them. All right. Totally didn't add Bubble World to my list of things to play with. Are you doing anything with Bubble World? Are we doing this? Oh, geeky. Let's see. Listen, Linda, my 25 plus TTRPG projects are totally going to get finished in one day. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, this is why my I ranks so much higher if I had to guess, right? Like, yes, it's in order, but there's still a difference between I being way up here and then like my T, which is my second, is still like way down here because I have a million ideas and I will start a lot of them. And then I have to try to bring them to the finish line. And I got to struggle through all those other things that are not my geniuses to get it to the finish line, which is my genius. All right. I think we're here. I've done 2 50-minute writing sprints. I have worked on Fantastical Geographic. I need to actually submit them, and I didn't really want to do that while on stream because I want to make sure I am being very present and looking at all the submission rules and everything. So I'm going to log off. I'm going to leave you all for the day. I think today was a good stream. I think this was really good, being able to separate my chat. I still had some chat. I should have set my timer that last one. I went long. I'm sorry. And thank you for being here. All right, folks, I'm going to let you go. Have a happy weekend. I will see you all at the other side of prom. I hope my hair does not go gray. All right, I will see you all. Bye.